Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, viewer mail and another assassination attempt coming at you right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show, and let's get right to it right now. Johnny Cogswell of Athens, Georgia has this to say. Hey DB, love your show. Thanks Johnny. Thank you for watching, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hey DB, what's your take on this Jimmy Kimmel thing? Well, you know, Johnny, I saw the mail ahead. A lot of times I do. I just see the mail now. I let it kind of come at me wild card. But I saw this ahead of time, and I pulled a sheet to look into it more because I wanted to make sure, in fairness to Kimmel, who I don't like. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I think he's a I think he hides behind his show. He would never say the things. This is not the Man Show now, where he has security and people hiding around him. He's just that kind of guy that in the old days, you just punch him right in the face and shut him up. You know, I mean, that's really, and that sounds very Neanderthal. And, oh, Daniel, you're a proponent of violence. You know, but okay, well, guess what? He is a proponent and thought it was funny to do a satirical thing on Melania and Barron sitting in the audience while he was doing this skit and talk about the death of the President of the United States. Now, listen, I'm not going to make this into why the president is this and why you should love the president or why you should hate the president. I'll cover both sides. It used to be even the discussion of killing a president. If you uttered those words, you'd be swarmed. Like you couldn't write it, you couldn't say it. Now, you could suggest you didn't like him. Nixon went through a lot of this. Most apparent in my mind was Nixon in the 70s, Saturday Night Live, impeaching him and implying things that were not great for his well-being. But it was, I think, so tasteless. And, ABC is out there now with this guy on there, and he did the same thing, very similar with Charlie Kirk, and he made fun of it. But this is days before. So he does a skit, and a few days after, there's an assassination attempt on his life. And you don't think that there are some wound up people out there watching this stuff that looks at that propaganda and reacts to it, but they do. That's what Jimmy Kimmel is paid for. That's what commercials pay for his show, that they're feeding into people that are watching and liking the kind of material that Jimmy Kimmel puts out there. So let me take it a step further for Johnny. Okay, well, first of all, let me read this to you. Late night host Jimmy Kimmel dared to repeat the hateful, ill-timed joke he made about First Lady Melania Trump looking like an expectant widow in a bombed roast he delivered days before the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Kimmel narrowly dodged outright cancellation for making similar distasteful jokes about Charlie Kirk's assassination in September. Took to the air with a vengeance in his Monday night show. "This is deja vu for me today," he said on Jimmy Kimmel Live. So, I don't know if Kimmel is loading up to try to have a lawsuit, but now remember you heard me say this preface, but hypothetically, if I said, hey, there's gotta be fans of my show out that would kill this fucking guy, that would kill this Kimmel guy, kill him, let's kill Jimmy Kimmel. If I said that and I meant it and I wasn't bringing up a hypothetical and something happened to Jimmy Kimmel, God forbid someone shot him or something terrible happened or something to his family or some crazy person, and then they showed this person was watching my show or was a follower of my podcast, what would the Kimmel family feel about that? What would Jimmy Kimmel's wife and children feel about me and feel about what was done? I mean, so there's got to be a responsible level that you take. And when I say things like, and I mean more in a biblical sense, don't worry, Jimmy Kimmel's going to get his. He's going to pay. He's going to pay for the terrible things that he's done in his life. It may not be till after his death, when he's going to enter the gates or wherever he thinks he's going, but you can't keep doing this kind of stuff and not pay. There's some karmatic thing There's karma that will be paid for the things he's done. He's been a terrible human being, a terrible human being. And for ABC to not get him off, this is the president of the United States. What has happened to this country? I had to endure presidents that I did not care for. I did. I never suggested they be killed. And granted, I'm not Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not, way up there with millions of people watching my show and blah, blah. But there was a time when I was on network television, a TV series that did really, really well, and my voice probably resonated louder than it does now. But I never would have thought for a second to say, kill this president or kill this candidate or kill anybody, besides, somebody who was a terrible possessor of weapons of mass destruction or was torturing and killing. Yeah, I might have probably said, Adolf Hitler could have been killed. Would I have killed Adolf Hitler had I known? Back then, maybe I would have committed that terrible crime. But what is wrong with the network officials that he's not pulled from the air right now? He's calling for and mocking the death of a sitting president. And they've tried to kill him 3 times. Not just that, what I found fascinating was, and I won't mention this person's name, but a friend said, look at the way the jacket of his jacket is being pulled. They're not really pulling him that hard. This was all staged. And I thought, the shot to the ear was staged, and Mar-a-Lago was staged, and there's guys in jail. Not like Charlie Kirk, where there's not a chance that kid shot those shots. I mean, he assembled the rifle, he took the rifle apart, he changed his outfit. This is the magic bullet theory when it comes to this guy that they've got in Utah in jail. He didn't do that. But this other guy that we're talking about now at the correspondence dinner, shots were fired. A Secret Service guy was hit in the chest with a vest on with witnesses. So for this friend of mine on Facebook that suggested that it looks like a B, I think he said something like a B action film or something, that it was so bad. So they shot a guy? Did they put a load in his jacket to blow his jacket out to make it look like we do in the movies, The Charge? A squib, if you will. This is how crazy this is going now. This is how it's all staged. Trump did that because he wants to bolster his popularity more. There's people that don't like Trump. There's people that are staunch Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel followers that want to see the president dead. There's politicians that have asked for his head. Let's bury him, let's get rid of him, someone should act on him. I mean, I could show you a treasure trove of comments from Pelosi to right on down, just awful, awful things projected on a standing president. He won the election. He won. You can't fight that. You're not going to argue about that, are you, again, and bring up this nonsense? He won the election. A majority of Americans put him in office. He slaughtered Kamala Harris, slaughtered her. I mean, it wasn't anywhere near as close as everyone said. Took all 7 swing states. This is a standing president, and people are applauding comments about his assassination. What has happened to our country? What has happened to us that we would allow something like that? So I want to know, again, let me preempt this by hypothetical. Hey, guys out there, my fans, this is a hypothetical statement. Hypothetical warning. I'm not saying this for real. Kill Jimmy Kimmel. Fucking kill that guy. Let's get somebody out there to kill him. Hey, Mrs. Kimmel, bring your kids and put them up there. And I want to do, we're here live at the funeral. Jimmy Kimmel's gone. What a terrible thing. Boo-hoo-hoo. People would be going nuts if I said that. And I get it. This is a guy who's doing satirical comedy, but tasteless. And it's supporting violence. And as I said on my show, and I told you just a few weeks ago, and I'll pull some of the stuff up, but I said, I worry about him making it through all 4 years. There really are some crazy people out there, and it'll be a JFK situation if it happens. God forbid that they get him. But he's on their radar now. He's on their radar. And it's not just crazy guys. They're going to try to find a Lee Harvey Oswald type of character, some nutty looking kid that they can get to climb up on a building in Butler, Pennsylvania. What fueled that? What fueled that situation in Butler? Was this kid contacted? Was Tyler Robinson contacted by agents of darkness in order to kill Charlie Kirk? What was the role of the Secret Service and his security team and Israel and Charlie Kirk's demise? And there's a lot of questions. So it won't be one of these drone kids or crazy people that do it. It'll be the people that wound him up and put him in the right place at the right time and paid off or silenced whoever they had to. And then 25 years later, we will hear and we will find out what really happened, and it'll be way too late and it won't matter. And the apathy in this country will just continue and grow and grow and grow. So if you don't want to be apathetic, even if you sit on the left, even if you can't stand Trump, for the sake of our children and our grandchildren and what's left of this country that's trying to be rebuilt, this was a terrible error in television content, in publicly broadcasted television content. You didn't subscribe to some subversive channel to watch this. This is Jimmy Kimmel calling for the death and making fun of the son and the wife, the first lady of this country, and calling for the death of the president and making a mockery of that. Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. Now watch if I say he's got to go and someone shoots him. Watch after this episode, someone shoots Jimmy Kimmel. God forbid he gets shotgunned down, he's murdered, whatever happens. But everyone's going to say, hey, Baldwin said that. Look what it... Didn't he just say that? Nothing's going to happen to him. And I'm saying it as an example after what he did. So I'm not in any way, have I come on my show that I don't like Kimmel and I said someone should kill him. But listen, because of what he's done, don't be surprised someone wants to make a name of themselves. Don't be surprised there's people out there that really don't like Jimmy Kimmel now. This is the reason why he should not make light of having someone killed or someone dying, particularly a president. I mean, he's a talk show host. No one's going to miss Jimmy Kimmel that much. Maybe his family and some of his friends. Not that many people. This is the president of the United States taking us back to power. And you're making a joke out of him dying. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? And why hasn't ABC already canceled him? Listen, why are we watching shows and watching product that's on ABC? Why? Why would you not boycott ABC and just have nothing to do with them anymore? Because they're keeping him on the air. They support this guy. They support making light of killing the president. If this happened in 1963, if this happened in any of the 60s or 70s, people would have gone crazy for this. Like, how can you allow this and justify this and think this is okay? This is not okay. Jimmy Kimmel's got to go. So, Johnny, thanks for your message, your question. Let's get into now the actual assassination part. So, the suspect accused of opening fire outside of the White House Correspondents Association dinner is being charged with attempting to assassinate President Donald Trump. Cole Thomas Allen, 31, of Torrance, California, is also charged with transporting a firearm and ammunition across the state lines with the intent to commit a felony and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence. Magistrate Judge Matthew J. Sharbaugh said, if convicted of the assassination attempt, Allen could face life in prison, Sharbaugh said. The U.S. Attorney Jean Pirro said Monday afternoon there could be additional charges as investigation continues to unfold. Every time I see Jeanine Pirro, I think of Judge Pirro Bailey in Syracuse, who I had a case with in the family court. And they look like, in that name Pirro, they got to be related. They got to be related. Pirro Bailey in Syracuse was a tough, good judge. She was a really good judge. Special lady. A lot of people in Syracuse owe a lot to her career. They really do, and me included. A California man has been charged with attempting to assassinate U.S. President Donald Trump after trying to storm a gala event with weapons on Saturday night. Cole Thomas Allen, 31, was charged with 2 firearms offenses. When he appeared in the court in Washington, D.C. on Monday, he did not enter a plea. He was carrying a semi-automatic handgun, a pump-action shotgun, and 3 knives as he charged past security checkpoint at the White House Correspondents Association dinner on Saturday, say prosecutors. The incident has sparked a White House security review. A Secret Service agent was shot, not seriously wounded, during the attack at the hotel. The accused faces life in prison if found guilty. So I read them back to back, but let me think about that for a minute. So I got this guy I told you earlier on that is putting this material out there right now, saying that because of his experience as an actor, and he's been on a lot of sets, and so have I. I've done a lot of action movies. I think probably far more than this guy has done. But this guy's a really good actor, and I admire his work. I'm not going to say his name. But I was taken aback when I read his post about it, and I went over and watched, because there's extensive video coverage of them pulling J.D. Vance and then them pulling the president. And someone mentioned, why did they get Vance? Well, they got to Vance. I think they didn't want to move the president right away because they wanted to make sure they understood where's the gun. Well, you don't want to grab the guy and bring him towards the gun, And so I think they needed to get around him and then get the okay to move him, if my knowledge of how the Secret Service operate when they're taking the president away. You can see in the video, actually, you know what? Can we put the video up that shows when they clear Vance and they clear the president? Put that up. So you can see in the video, they grab Vance and Vance goes, all right. Now, remember, Vance, a former military guy, he, probably, I don't even know if he noticed the sound of the shots. You can hear them in the video, but it doesn't seem like you see the president or anyone act very alarmed by it. They get Vance out of there pretty quickly. I think they surround Trump to make sure they're all clear. Backstage this way, they don't want to drag him in. What if there's 3 guys, So I think that's why you see him go in a delayed way. He's the president. They grab Vance, get him out of there, but they're not going to take the president unless they know exactly where the action's going on and so on. Anyway, the level that they grabbed his jacket and they moved him, it looks to me like Vance knows he's going, so he just starts going, but I didn't see anything that looked like a B action movie and that it was staged and all this stuff. And furthermore, I want to say, because there's other people out there that are saying that this wasn't real, that this isn't that, all this other stuff. What does it gain him? What does it gain the president? Are you going to feel more sorry for him because you think they're after him to kill him? They are after him to kill him. They want him dead. There are people that want him, factions around the globe, before certain things happen, like tokenization and changing American dollars value and doing different stuff, big stuff that, huge money people around the world do not want to happen. And the Chinese and the Russians don't want it to happen. And they don't want us to grab Venezuela. And they don't want us to grab what's going on in Iran. And they don't want their oil to go up. And they don't want them to have to answer to us. And they don't want, a lot of stuff is going on, that there's factions around the world that wouldn't mind seeing Trump dead. So what exactly do we gain by Trump's people staging a guy rushing in with a gun? The guy shoots the gun, hits an officer, So you got to get an officer willing to take the round in the chest because he's part of this piece, right? Isn't he part of it too? Isn't the Secret Service guy that was shot, isn't he part of this whole setup? Wow, I don't know if this guy who did it has a military background or whatever, but you're gambling that his shot's going to hit you in the chest and not in the face. So that's a lot of trust. That's a lot of trust to have in somebody. Now think about that for a minute. We're going to let Mopey here, who's disgruntled, left-wing kind of crazy person who we've talked into a program. Let's play the whole thing out. We programmed him to come in, and you, Officer Schmucktone, you're going to come in there, and he's going to shoot you in the chest. But you got a vest on. Don't worry about it. Right? Really? Come on, man. So, while I see people that want to react because they hate Trump so much and they want to plant this now and make this sound, or how about this? How about a nutty guy he charged the front area. He wasn't in the correspondence dinner. He didn't get by security where the president was. He didn't get close to the president. Excuse me. This man thought in his deluded mind that he was actually going to get a sawed-off shotgun or a shotgun of some kind. Now, I'm much more concerned about getting a handgun in through security that's semi-automatic. It means you could have shot, and it's smaller. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see if there was metal detectors. I'm imagining there was. I'm imagining at a presidential appearance that they went through women's bags, that anyone would have to have that go through their stuff. So wouldn't be that easy to get a gun. Now, again, a plastic gun of some kind, whatever, I guess it's possible. Now, this guy came in with hammers in his hands, big metal objects. So no, he ran to the security checkpoint. He tried to run through it. He was met with firepower immediately. He opened fire and he was subdued without killing him, which is great because maybe we can get some information out of this guy now. Who do you work for? Let's get his cell phone records. Let's get his telephone records. Let's figure out what friends he was around. Let's look at any banking stuff that he might have. And we're going to get some answers about exactly who he was. So for 1 second, do I believe that anyone staged this? No. For what? Do I feel any closer to Donald Trump? Do I feel any more sorry for Donald Trump? Donald Trump knows what he's doing. Donald Trump knows that his life is at risk. Donald Trump has advisors around him that have told him, you realize you do this and this could be a real big problem for you. He knows that. He knows that. He's going to put an end to all of it. He is. And this is what people that are on the left, not every person, not the average person watching the show, not the average person that pays his taxes and so on and so forth, not them, but they're the big ones out there. The ones that set up our schools and set up how they want us to just be robots that run all the banking. They want a certain outcome here. They don't want the changes that are being implemented by Donald Trump. And they will go to any length, including shooting him at Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas, right in front of all of America on TV. They would do it. They would do it. Mm-hmm. And I have said, these are early, this guy wasn't that close to getting to the president. But in 2027, I think we're going to get through 26. I worry about 2027. I worry that as it gets closer to the next election, as decisions, financial decisions that will affect the entire world become closer to having happened, they're going to try to get him. They are, I'm pretty sure. History has shown that other presidents that have tried to turn this around, the World Bank and different things that Trump is going to try to have an effect on. And they don't want their drink stirred. They don't want things changed. The recipe is the recipe that works for them. They have it down. They take most of the money. You continue to take your children and put them in public school and then put them in college, and they walk around going do 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 do, and they pay their bills, and they're in an actuarial equation in the Midwest. White, male, and they break it down to what he's worth and what he's going to pay, and he's going to be a good boy, and he's not going to disrupt the system, and he's worth X amount of dollars at the end, and we need 150 million of those, and we need another 100 million women at this, and we need this many African American people, and we need this. It's all a big math equation. That's what it is. That's what it is. And they want you to believe that in the American dream, listen carefully to this, because I'm going to close on this. They want you to believe that in the American dream, you get to buy a 3-bedroom house. You get to own that house after 30 years of paying interest on the house. You're going to probably end up paying 2.5 to 3 times the value of the house to the bank for loaning you the money to buy a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 house. That's the American dream. And your kids are going to go to so-and-so high school in your hometown, and your taxes are going to pay for that. And then they're going to go, to Kennesaw State, or they're going to go to some state school that's close by that's a reputable, decent education for them. To do what? To do what? How many of them are going to graduate and do exactly what they taught them to do in kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth grade? We want you to be quiet. We want you to walk on a dark line in single file to the cafeteria. We want you all to kick the gym ball and then climb the rope and then do this. And we want you to sit behind a desk as a little child for 6.5, 7 hours a day and do your work that you're told. Eat what you're told. Shit when you're told. Pee when you're told. It's not until later you get to take a pass. I have to go to the bathroom. You have to wait, Johnny. It's not bathroom break time. What other institutions do you know of in the United States or worldwide that sound similar to that? Yes. Jail and prison are very similar to the system that we have. Now, of course, I'm not trying to say that our schools, our public schools, are prisons, but the behavior that they support is very prison-like. And the idea behind it is we don't want to develop free thinkers. We don't want to develop creators. We do not want to develop expansion of your mind. We want to develop workers. We want to develop young minds and bodies that follow direction and support that less than 1% that controls 98% of the money in our population. That's what they want. That's what you send them to do. You have boards of education and you have committees in your towns that all clap at each other because they got a new clay pitcher's mound for the team because they play baseball so well. That you got people to come into the classroom. So let's talk a little further about this. We got prayer removed. And I have really smart people around me that have said, I think it's unfortunate for the Muslims to not be able to have prayer. Why do they have to sit through? Well, the Muslims weren't born here usually, or if they were, their families aren't from here. They're from another country where they practice that religion a lot. And you have every right, please don't misunderstand me, to practice the religion you want. What I want to know more about, though, is if the Muslim is suffering in the classroom by listening to the Pledge of Allegiance or a prayer time, why can't the Muslim keep a little rug under their desk and put it down and practice what they preach? I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. Why do I have to endure being a parent, finding out that they're going to have Gay Awareness Day at my grammar school? Why do I have to endure as a parent that in the curriculum they're going to have sexual awareness class for third graders? And that people that are transgender are going to come in and speak in the class on, are you struggling to understand what you really are? Do you feel like there's a woman inside you, Tommy? Tommy, come sit up here with Gwendolyn. And let me ask you another question. Let's get Tommy's parents in, because Tommy had some questions. Tommy's not sure. I have to allow that. Poetry by a transgender person. Again, you can do whatever you want. Penis, vagina, whatever it is that floats your boat. I don't have to want that in my school, and I don't seem to have a say whether that's in my school. but you can pull prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance because you don't think it's fair to subject people to that. That's okay to do. What the hell is happening to this country, man? What is happening? Not the country that I was born in. It's not anymore, but it's coming back, baby. Watch it come back now. I can't wait. Jimmy Kimmel, are you listening? There's my dog groaning at Jimmy Kimmel outside right now. You crossed the line, bro. You crossed the line. You're going to pay now. You're going to pay like you should have paid about Charlie Kirk. You're going to pay. And I don't want anything bad to physically happen to you or your family. So let's throw that up. I hope they fire your ass so bad. And I hope you have to walk around that town. Stay in that town. Stay in that town because there's a lot of people that love you out there that support the bullshit that you do. But, don't come down to Texas, Jimmy. Don't come down to Texas. We don't want you. Don't come to Georgia. We don't want you in Georgia either. We don't want you. There's a line in the sand and you crossed it. So yours is coming, my friend. God is watching you. God's watching you, Jimmy. So listen, I'm going to get to this part really quick and say, if you can hit the subscribe button, if you can hit the like button, if you can share this show with your friends, it really helps me. We're making a move to Texas, looking at houses now, trying to figure out where we want to go, my wife and I, because we want to be really careful about how we raise our son. We do. We want to be really on point about the decisions we make of what we expose this boy to. Because this country is different. My father was a teacher. It's nothing like it was when I was a kid. School now. I wouldn't turn my kid over to a public school. Not right now. Not unless I find a really special one near where I'm going, which might exist. It might. Lord God, thank you for the protection that you give us, Jesus. We love you so much. You are our Savior, and you are the only living God in the world. So God, we ask you today for continued guidance and protection from the evil sources that are out there that don't follow you and don't practice the words that you put into that Bible, the great words in the greatest book ever written. Oh God, we pray for people like Jimmy Kimmel that they may find you, that they're struggling out there in the dark and they don't know you, which is what enables them to do and say the things that they do. And this man that tried to kill our president or was thinking about getting close to him to kill him or anyone in that room, we ask you, God, for him to repent and come to you and admit his wrongs so that you may forgive him of his sins and cleanse his heart when he gets ready to take the journey from this planet, and let him come to heaven, God, because we love him too. We do. We love Jimmy Kimmel. We love Jimmy Kimmel, Lord. He just doesn't know you, obviously doesn't know you. So maybe your light will shine on Jimmy Kimmel and he can be forgiven. In your name we pray, amen. So notice something that I try to do. And there are people I don't like out there. There's people I really, really don't like. Had I been outside or in the audience and went up to Jimmy Kimmel after he said, I'm going to punch him right in the face, I would have felt so good as a human being to have done that, just to knock that guy out. He's a pretty little guy, so probably, even though I'm a lot older, it wouldn't have been fair. It wouldn't be a fair fight, Jimmy Kimmel. Steel cage match, me and Jimmy Kimmel, and I get to just pound him. That would be so fun. We'll do it for charity. We'll do it for charity. I'll give the money to my mother's breast cancer research fund. Winner take all. That's sexy right there. Just putting the gloves on and going at it with Kimmel. I'm 65. I don't think he's that old. Is he in the 50s? Yeah, I'm an old man. He should be able to take care of me. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's raise the money, find a cure for breast cancer on my side or whatever his charity is. And we'll just put the gloves on and go out there like gladiators. Come on, Jimmy. Let's do it. He ain't doing it. He's a pussy. So anyway, I still pray for Kimmel though. I still pray for him because my God wants him to admit his indiscretions so that he can be freed of his sin. That's the name of the game, is to try to bring people to God if you can. And so while I listen to what other people, that this guy, I hate him, and Baldwin, you, blank, blank, blank. I mean, the stuff that people will write to me, the awful stuff about something to do with my intellectual capacity, something to do with my career, something to do with something one of my brothers did, or some awful situation in one of my family members' lives, my kids, my ex-wives, my wife now, who I just, she's the kindest, sweetest, nicest person you're ever going to meet. Don't take her quietness as weakness, because she's not weak. She's tough, really tough. But why would you write anything about me and my wife? Now, what does that have to do with what I'm saying about politics? Why would you go to take the time, like some of the posts that people put on my social media, and they write stuff to me about Haley and Justin Bieber, and they write, they DM me this blah blah blah, and Bieber did this, and I'm like, why are you writing me about Justin Bieber? I don't hang out with Justin Bieber. I don't really spend any time with Justin. God bless him. God bless Haley. She outfoxed all of you people. She outfoxed everybody and crushed it. Good mom, good wife, killer business. And you were talking crap about her for years. Crap about her. And she just went, watch what I do. And she did. She crushed it. Crushed it. Good for you, Haley. Good for you. But anyway, I watch the people on the left, and they say such awful things about the president, and they make up terrible stuff, and they make up stuff about friends of mine and family members and myself and my life. You know why? Because they don't have anything really bad they can say that's true. You can disagree with me. You can support this candidate or this person. I have friends and people that are really close to me that don't care for Trump. It doesn't stop me from being their friend. I don't write terrible things about their lives and about them and say things that, I had someone say to me recently, well, obviously you've been in a coma for the last 2 years or whatever it was. And I went, what a terrible thing to say to me. Who do you think you are to write that? This is a person I know from the film business. And they said, you do, and I didn't say anything bad about you. I said, saying that you've been in a coma for the last, whatever amount of years it was, like, why do you think that's so? And a public thing, they didn't DM me that. They wrote that it was an open Facebook post. So, and this is a person I've known for 20 something, 30 years, who I always had, I thought, a nice relationship with. We're not best friends. We don't hang out a lot. Or we comment or like each other's stuff from time to time. As soon as we got into politics, he's a Canadian guy. He didn't like Trump. And he wrote these, again, you have to tag it with some comment personally about me, or about my consciousness, or being in a coma, or my IQ, or my, Why? You don't like the guy I like. I don't like the guy you like. It's okay. I like the Yankees. You like this team. You're a Lakers fan. I'm a Knicks fan. But, it's okay. I don't write. That's a great example. I don't write terrible things about stuff, nor do I think does Spike Lee write terrible things about people that follow other basketball teams. Not people he works with and he knows. Well, does he have fun with the fans? Did he go back and forth with different players while they played for the Pacers and while they played for, Reggie Lewis is a great example. Spike and him would go at it at the Garden. But still, he didn't write awful things about Reggie Lewis because they didn't like the same teams. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. But man, big changes are coming, everybody. Big things that are gonna revolutionize the way we do business for the next 50, 100 years. Get ready. It's gonna be so fun to watch and to be successful and to be at peace. We're gonna have peace around the globe. We're gonna finish this thing with Iran, and the US is gonna have peace. But we're gonna find out a lot of things about people that were heroes, we thought. People that had high-ranking offices and people that had our trust. It's all gonna come out now. Big actors, singers. Nothing like the nonsense that we've heard. This is gonna be videos. This is gonna be iconic people. that, they have statues already erected for. They're all going to come tumbling down, man. It's going to be ugly. But I think, it's like, I liken it to a wound. When you have a bad wound, sometimes you need to open it up, you need to drain it out, you need to, kill all the infection, and then you can sew it up and let it heal. And that's what's going on with a lot of the Hollywood types, the singers, the politicians. They say drain the swamp. You got to get all the stuff out, and then you got to kill everything that's inside there, and then sew it up and let it heal. And that's what we're doing right now. We're getting ready to start killing all the infection. Here it comes. So listen, God bless you. Thank you for watching the show. Subscribe to it, like it, share it. Let's get everybody together and let's talk. Send your questions. I love when you send questions to me, and I get a lot of them. So send your questions and get ready, because when we get to Texas, we're going to start having people on the show. And I love shows. I do a lot of people's shows, and it's fun to do them. But I want to bring regular people in. I want to bring people in that we can have on either side. It doesn't matter, but we can talk about things and we can try to understand each other. And I want to understand the point of some people on the left. One of the things I want to do really bad is bring some angry heat viewers that are going to tell us why they hate this guy so much. Well, what did he actually do? And let's maybe we'll get a panel on. We'll do a panel show. So all of that's coming, exciting things. Thank you so much. God bless you.